The marketplace on Meridian 7 was always crowded. Hundreds of different species moved through the narrow walkways between stalls. The air smelled like 1,000 different worlds mixed together. Some smells were sweet, others made Taman's nose wrinkle. He was used to it now after 3 years working on the station. Taman carried his tool bag over his shoulder. He had just finished fixing a cooling unit in one of the storage bays. His hands were still dirty with grease. He was thinking about getting something to eat when he noticed someone struggling near a translation booth. She was small and delicate-looking. Her skin had a soft blue tint that reminded Taman of Earth's sky just before sunset. She wore simple gray robes that looked comfortable. Her large eyes were focused on a small device in her hands. She pressed buttons on it with growing frustration. Taman recognized her species from the station database. She was Valorian. They were known as scholars and linguists across the galaxy. Most of them worked in libraries or universities. They were peaceful people who avoided conflict. "Need some help?" Taman asked as he walked closer. The Valorian woman looked up. Her eyes widened slightly when she saw him. Taman was used to that reaction. Humans were still relatively new to the galactic community. Some species were curious about them. Others were cautious. "My translation device stopped working," she said. Her voice was soft but clear. "I have an important meeting in 1 hour. Without this, I cannot communicate with my client." Taman smiled. "Let me take a look. I'm a mechanic." She hesitated for just a moment, then handed him the device. Taman turned it over in his hands. It was a standard model, nothing too complicated. He pulled a small tool from his belt and opened the back panel. "The power coupling is loose," he said, "and there's some dust in the connection port. That happens a lot on this station. The air recyclers don't catch everything." He worked quickly, cleaning the connections and tightening the coupling. Within 5 minutes, the device beeped and lit up again. He handed it back to her. "Try it now." She pressed a button and the device spoke in several different languages. Relief flooded her face. "Thank you so much. How much do I owe you?" Taman waved his hand. "Nothing. It was easy, just doing a good deed for the day." She looked surprised. "That is very kind. Most repair technicians on the station charge high prices." "I'm not most technicians," Taman said with a grin. "I'm Taman, by the way." "My name is Hana," she replied. She gave him a small bow, which he guessed was a sign of respect in her culture. Over the next few weeks, Taman saw Hana several more times around the station. The first time was in the observation deck where people could watch ships arrive and depart. She was sitting alone, watching the stars. "Beautiful, isn't it?" Taman said as he walked up beside her. Hana looked over and smiled when she recognized him. "Yes. I never get tired of this view. Every star out there could have worlds with their own stories." They talked for almost an hour. Hana told him about her work as a xenolinguist. She studied languages and helped species communicate with each other. Taman told her about his job keeping the station's systems running. He made her laugh with stories about the strange things people tried to flush down disposal units. The second time they met was in the station library. Taman was looking for a manual on advanced electrical systems. Hana was returning a stack of books on ancient Earth languages. She seemed excited when she saw him. "Did you know that your species had over 7,000 different languages on your home world?" she asked. "That is remarkable. Most species only develop 1 or 2 before they achieve space travel." Taman had never thought about it that way. "I guess humans like to do things differently." "You certainly do," Hana said. There was something in her tone that Taman couldn't quite read. They started meeting for lunch sometimes. Hana taught him about different species and their customs. Taman shared stories about Earth and human history. He found himself looking forward to these meetings more and more. One day, Taman was talking with another human mechanic named Jinho. They were having coffee in the workers' break room. "You seem happy lately," Jinho said. Got something good happening? Taman felt his face get warm. There's this woman I've been spending time with. She's really interesting and easy to talk to. Human? Jinho asked. No, Valorian. Jinho raised his eyebrows. Really? That's different. I heard Valorians don't usually socialize much with other species. They keep to themselves mostly. Hana's not like that, Taman said. She's friendly and curious about everything. Jinho shrugged. Well, good for you. Just be careful. Valorians are considered pretty fragile compared to most species. Don't want to accidentally hurt anyone. Taman frowned. Why would I hurt anyone? I'm just saying be aware. Different species, different rules. That conversation stayed with Taman. He started paying more attention to how other species acted around the station. He noticed that bigger, stronger species tended to dominate conversations. Smaller species like Valorians often moved aside when larger beings approached. It wasn't aggressive, just the natural order of things, but it bothered him. Hana was smart and capable. She deserved respect, not to be pushed aside. 2 months after they first met, Taman made a decision. He found Hana in her usual spot in the library. His heart was beating faster than normal. Hey, Hana, can I ask you something? She looked up from her work. Of course. Would you want to have dinner with me? Like a real dinner? Not just meeting by chance? A planned thing. He felt clumsy with his words. Hana's expression changed. She looked surprised, then uncertain. For a long moment, she didn't say anything. Taman started to worry he had made a mistake. Finally, she spoke. You want to have dinner with me? Just the two of us? Yes. I enjoy spending time with you. I thought it would be nice to do something more formal. If you want to, I mean. No pressure. Hana looked down at her hands. When she looked back up, there was something sad in her eyes. But she smiled. Yes, I would like that. Taman felt relief and happiness wash over him. Great. How about tomorrow evening? There's that place on level 7 that serves food from different worlds. Tomorrow evening is good, Hana said. As Taman walked away, he felt like he was floating. He didn't notice the worried look that stayed on Hana's face after he left. He didn't see her pull up information files on her personal device, and he didn't know that she spent the rest of the day reading reports about humans with growing concern. Taman arrived at the restaurant 15 minutes early. He wore his best clothes, a simple blue shirt and dark pants. He had cleaned the grease from under his fingernails 3 times to make sure they looked presentable. His hair was combed back neatly. The restaurant was called The Harmony. It was designed for multiple species to eat together. Each table had environmental controls, so different beings could adjust the temperature and air composition around their seat. The lighting could change too. Some species liked bright light while others preferred dimmer settings. Hana arrived exactly on time. She wore robes that shimmered with soft silver threads. Her blue skin seemed to glow in the restaurant's warm light. Taman stood up when he saw her. You look beautiful, he said. Hana's cheeks darkened slightly, which Taman guessed was the Valorian version of blushing. Thank you. You look very nice as well. They sat down across from each other. A server approached, a member of a species with 6 arms who could carry multiple dishes at once. They each ordered food from their home worlds. Taman got something similar to grilled meat and vegetables. Hana ordered a dish that looked like colorful crystals floating in clear liquid. So tell me about growing up on Valoria, Taman said. What was it like? Hana seemed to relax a little. It was peaceful, very quiet compared to this station. My family lived near the great library of Veltis. I spent most of my childhood reading books from different worlds. That is why I became interested in languages. Did you always want to work in space? Not always. When I was young, I wanted to stay on Valoria and teach. But then I realized that to truly understand languages, I needed to meet the beings who spoke them. So I applied for positions on various stations. Meridian 7 accepted me 3 years ago. Taman smiled. Same time I arrived here. We've been walking past each other for years without knowing it. Perhaps, Hana said. Or perhaps the timing was right for us to meet now. They talked while they ate. Taman told her about growing up on Earth in a city near the ocean. He described the smell of salt water and the sound of waves. Hana listened with genuine interest, asking questions about things she had only read about in books. Your world sounds violent, she said quietly. The books say Earth has many natural disasters. Earthquakes, hurricanes, volcanic eruptions, and the animals, so many predators. Taman shrugged. I guess we're used to it. You learn to be careful, and humans are pretty tough. We adapt. Something flickered across Hana's face. Before Taman could ask about it, the restaurant door opened with a loud bang. 4 large beings walked in. They were Crothians, a warrior species known across the galaxy for their strength and aggression. Each one stood at least 7 feet tall with thick gray skin covered in natural armor plates. Their eyes were small and dark. They wore leather straps with various weapons hanging from them. The restaurant became quieter. Other diners looked down at their food or turned away. The Crothians laughed loudly as they walked between tables. They seemed to enjoy the fear they created. One of them stopped near Taman and Hana's table. He looked down at Hana with a nasty grin. Look at this, the Crothian said to his companions. A little Valorian, far from home. What are you doing here, scholar? Looking for someone to protect you? Hana didn't look up. Her hands trembled slightly. Taman felt anger building in his chest. She's having dinner, Taman said calmly. We'd like to get back to it. The Crothian's eyes shifted to Taman. He seemed surprised that someone had spoken up. Then he laughed. A human. I should have guessed. Always sticking your noses where they don't belong. You think you can protect her? I think you should leave us alone, Taman said. He kept his voice steady but firm. The Crothian leaned down closer. His breath smelled terrible. Careful, human. You might think you're brave, but you're out of your league. This station has rules against fighting, otherwise I would teach you some manners. Another Crothian called from across the restaurant. Leave them. Not worth our time. The first Crothian straightened up, but before he left, he leaned close to Taman and whispered, Protect your soft little friend, human. You'll need to. The Crothians left the restaurant. The normal sound slowly returned as other diners relaxed. Taman looked at Hana. She was staring at her food, her face pale. Are you okay? He asked. Hana nodded slowly. Yes. Thank you for speaking up. Most beings would not have done that. Of course I would. Nobody should be treated that way. Hana looked at him with those large eyes. Taman, can I ask you something? What do you know about human history? About what other species think of humans? The question surprised him. Not much, I guess. I know we're relatively new to galactic society. Some species are friendly, others keep their distance. Why? Hana was quiet for a moment. She seemed to be making a difficult decision. Finally, she spoke. You don't know, do you? What humans really are? What the galaxy thinks of your species? What do you mean? There is information, classified information, about Earth and humans. The Galactic Council restricts access to it. Most beings never learn the truth. They just know to be cautious around humans, but they don't know why. Taman leaned forward. What kind of information? I can show you, Hana said. I have access to the archives because of my work. But Taman, you need to understand something first. When you asked me to dinner, I was frightened. The word hit Taman like a punch. Frightened? Of me? Not of you specifically. Of what you are. Of what all humans are. She reached across the table and touched his hand gently. But I said yes anyway. Because I wanted to believe that you were different. That maybe the fear was wrong. Taman felt confused and hurt. Hana, I would never hurt you. Never. I know that now, she said softly. Or at least I believe it. But I need to show you the truth. Meet me tomorrow at the Galactic Archives. Level 12, Section 7. Come alone. What you learn there will change how you see yourself and your entire species. Taman wanted to ask more questions, but Hana stood up. I'm sorry. I need to go. Tonight was wonderful until those Crothians arrived. But there are things you must know, things I cannot tell you here. She left quickly, leaving Taman sitting alone with his half-eaten meal. His mind raced with questions. What could be so terrible or so important that the Galactic Council would hide it? Why would Hana be afraid of him? He thought about the Crothian's words. Protect your soft little friend. You'll need to. What did that mean? Taman paid for the meal and walked back to his quarters. Sleep didn't come easily that night. He kept thinking about the sadness in Hana's eyes. The fear she admitted to feeling, and the mystery she promised to reveal. Tomorrow couldn't come fast enough. The Galactic Archives took up 3 entire levels of Meridian 7. Rows and rows of data storage units held information about every known species in the galaxy, their histories, biology, culture, and capabilities. Anyone could access basic information, but deeper files required special authorization. Taman found Hana waiting near the entrance to the restricted section. She looked nervous. Her hands kept adjusting her robes even though they didn't need adjusting. Thank you for coming, she said quietly. Of course. I barely slept last night thinking about this. Hana pressed her hand against a scanner. The door opened with a soft hiss. Follow me. And Taman, please keep an open mind about what you're going to learn. They walked through corridors lined with glowing data panels. Other scholars worked at various stations, too focused on their research to notice them. Hana led him to a private viewing room and locked the door behind them. She activated a large display screen on the wall. Her fingers moved quickly across the control panel. This is your species file, she said. The complete version, not the public one. The screen showed Earth floating in space, beautiful blue and green and white. Home. Then the data began scrolling past. Species classification, human. Origin world, Earth. World category 12. What does category 12 mean? Taman asked. Hana's voice was soft. Most habitable worlds in the galaxy are category 1 through 4. Those are considered safe and pleasant. Category 5 through 7 are challenging but manageable. Category 8 and above are classified as death worlds. Earth is a category 12 death world. Taman stared at her. That can't be right. People live on Earth. Billions of people. Yes, Hana said. That is what makes humans so remarkable. And so terrifying. She brought up more data. Images of Earth's weather systems appeared. Hurricanes that could flatten cities, tornadoes that could lift houses into the air, earthquakes that split the ground open, tsunamis that drowned coastlines. The gravity on Earth is twice what most species can tolerate long-term, Hana explained. Your atmospheric pressure would crush a Valorian within hours. The temperature swings between your seasons would kill most beings. And that's just the environment. More images appeared. Lions, bears, sharks, snakes, spiders. Your world has thousands of species that evolved specifically to kill and eat other creatures. Predators that can run faster than most galactic species can move. Venom that stops hearts in seconds. Teeth and claws designed for tearing flesh. Taman felt dizzy. But humans evolved there too. We're not predators. Aren't you? Hana pulled up more files. These showed human anatomy. Your eyes face forward. That's predator vision, designed for tracking prey. Your teeth include canines for tearing meat. Your body produces adrenaline that increases strength and suppresses pain when you're threatened. You can run for hours without stopping. You can go days without food or water. You heal from injuries that would be fatal to most species. The screen changed again. Now it showed military records, human soldiers in combat situations. When humans entered the galactic community, there were conflicts, small wars, testing boundaries. Do you know what your combat record is, Taman? Humans against other species in ground combat? He shook his head, unable to speak. 97% victory rate, against species that evolved for war, against beings twice your size with natural armor. You win because you don't stop. You endure pain that would make most soldiers surrender. You adapt to any environment. You're creative and vicious when cornered. Taman sat down heavily in a chair. Why didn't anyone tell us this? Why didn't I know? Because the Galactic Council made a decision. They watched humans carefully when you first reached space. They saw your history. Thousands of years of constant warfare against each other, weapons that could destroy entire continents, and they were afraid. Hana sat down next to him. Her voice was gentle now. But they also saw something else. They saw humans helping other species without asking for payment. They saw you sharing technology freely. They saw you crying over injustice done to beings you'd just met. The Council realized something important. Humans are dangerous, yes. More dangerous than almost any species in the galaxy. But you're also kind. You choose to be kind. She pulled up one more file. It was labeled Species Threat Assessment. You could dominate the galaxy if you wanted to. Your population grows faster than most species. You adapt to any environment. You're brilliant at engineering and warfare, but you don't seek domination. You seek cooperation. That confuses many species. They don't understand why you hold back. Taman looked at his hands. These hands that had fixed Hana's translation device. These hands that could apparently do terrible things. Is this why you were afraid of me? Hana nodded. When you asked me to dinner, I knew what you were. What you could do if you wanted to harm me. I am physically weaker than a human child, Taman. If you wanted to hurt me, I couldn't stop you. No Valorian could. But I would never do that. I know. That's why I said yes. Because I saw who you are, not what you are. But you have to understand how other species see you. Every day, you hold back strength you don't even know you have. Every interaction, you're being gentle without realizing it. When you stood up to that Crothian last night, you scared me because I saw something in your eyes. Something cold and calculating. You were measuring him, deciding if you could win a fight. Taman thought back. She was right. He had been doing exactly that. The Crothians knew it too, Hana continued. That's why they left. They know what humans are. Most aggressive species do. They avoid direct conflict with humans when possible. So everyone's been pretending around us? Treating us like we're normal when they're actually afraid? Not afraid exactly. Cautious, respectful. Humans have earned a reputation as fierce but fair, strong but kind. Other species know that if they don't threaten you, you won't threaten them. It's an unspoken agreement. Taman stood and walked to the display screen. He touched the image of Earth. I grew up thinking we were just average, good at some things, not special. I never knew. That was by design, Hana said. Human leaders and the Galactic Council agreed to downplay your capabilities, to let humans integrate slowly into galactic society, to give other species time to get used to you. It's been working, until recently. What do you mean? Hana looked worried. There are species who resent human success, who think you're too dangerous to be allowed to spread throughout the galaxy. The Crothians are one of them. There are rumors of actions being planned, attacks meant to provoke humans into showing your true nature, to make the galaxy fear you. That's insane. Maybe. But fear makes beings do insane things. She stood and walked over to him. Taman, I showed you this because you deserve to know the truth, but also because I need you to understand something. When we're together, other beings will watch us. A human and a Valorian. A predator and prey species. By biological classification. Some will see it as proof that humans are safe. Others will see it as a human claiming territory. Taman turned to face her. And what do you see it as? Hana smiled softly. I see it as two people who enjoy each other's company. Two people who are trying to understand each other despite coming from very different worlds. That's what I want it to be. That's what I want too, Taman said. Hana, I don't care what the files say about humans or Valorians. I care about you. The person standing in front of me. I feel the same way. But we both need to be aware of the reality. You are dangerous, Taman. More dangerous than you've ever realized. But that doesn't mean you're bad. It means you have a responsibility to be careful. Taman nodded slowly. I understand. They stood together in the quiet room, surrounded by data about death worlds and predator species and galactic politics. But in that moment, all of it felt distant. What mattered was the connection between them. 3 days passed after the revelation in the archives. Taman found himself looking at everything differently now. When he lifted heavy equipment at work, he wondered if it would be impossible for other species. When he worked through his lunch break because he was focused on a problem, he thought about what Hana said about human endurance. He saw other humans on the station differently too. Jinho, his co-worker, casually moved a storage container that took 3 Valorians working together to shift. A human security guard named Unji walked patrols for 12 hours straight without seeming tired. Things he had always taken for granted suddenly seemed significant. Hana sent him messages each day, small things, a picture of an interesting book she found, a question about human idioms she was studying. Taman appreciated that she was treating him the same as before. It helped him feel normal. On the 3rd day, they made plans to meet for coffee. Taman arrived at the small cafe on level 9 feeling lighter than he had in days. Maybe things could just go back to how they were before he knew the truth. He ordered a coffee and found a table near the window that looked out into space. A few minutes later, Hana arrived. She smiled when she saw him, and he felt warmth spread through his chest. Hi, she said as she sat down. Hi, I missed you. I missed you too. I'm sorry I've been giving you space. I thought you might need time to process everything. I did, Taman admitted, but I'm okay now, or at least I'm getting there. I decided that knowing the truth doesn't change who I want to be. Hana reached across the table and squeezed his hand. That's exactly the right attitude. They talked for half an hour about lighter things. Hana told him about a comedy show she watched that completely misunderstood human culture. Taman made her laugh with a story about a mistake he made at work that caused a water pipe to spray 3 different species with cold water. Then, the station alarm started blaring. Everyone in the cafe looked up. The alarm was followed by an automated announcement. Security alert. All civilians proceed to designated safe zones. This is not a drill. Security breach on levels 7 through 10. Armed hostiles detected. People started moving immediately. Most species knew what to do during emergencies. Taman grabbed his communicator and checked for updates. Multiple Crothian raiders, he read from the screen. They've breached the civilian sector. Station security is engaged. Hana's face went pale. The xenolinguist offices are on level 8. My colleagues are there. Minji and Borum work late every evening. Taman stood up. We need to get to a safe zone. But Hana was already accessing something on her personal device. They're trapped. Look. She showed him a message from someone named Minji. Raiders are outside our office. They've sealed the door, but it won't hold long. Please help. Station security will get there, Taman said. But even as he said it, he knew it wasn't true. Security on Meridian 7 wasn't military. They were trained for disputes and minor crimes. not armed raiders. Hana looked at him with desperate eyes. Taemin, Minji has a child. She's only worked here for 6 months. She's terrified of violence. Something shifted in Taemin's mind. He thought about what the Crothian had said at the restaurant. Protect your soft little friend. You'll need to. This wasn't random. This was the attack Hana had warned him about. Someone was trying to prove humans were monsters, but right now, that didn't matter. What mattered was people needed help. Stay here, Taemin said. Get to the safe zone. Where are you going? Level 8. No, Taemin, you can't. You're not security. You're not trained for this. He looked at her and saw real fear in her eyes. Fear for him. I have to try. Your friends need help. Before she could argue more, he ran out of the cafe. His communicator buzzed. It was Jinho. Taemin, where are you? Heading to level 8. There are people trapped. I know. I'm already here with Do-Yun and Kyung-Soo. We're at the maintenance access point near the Xenolinguist offices. We're going in. Taemin felt relief. He wasn't the only one who decided to help. I'm 2 minutes away. He ran through corridors that were emptying as people evacuated. His heart pounded, but his mind felt clear, focused. He found Jinho and 2 other human engineers waiting by a maintenance hatch. The raiders are in the main corridor, Jinho said quietly. 6 of them, armed with energy weapons. They're trying to break into several offices, including the linguist section. What's the plan? Taemin asked. Do-Hyun, an older engineer with gray hair, held up a heavy wrench. We don't have weapons, but we have tools. And we know this station better than they do. We come up behind them through the maintenance tunnels. Station security? Kyung-Soo asked. 5 minutes out at least, Jinho said. These people don't have 5 minutes. They looked at each other. None of them were soldiers. They were engineers and mechanics. But they all made the same decision. They moved through the maintenance tunnels quickly and quietly. Taemin noticed how they spread out automatically, staying in communication with hand signals. Nobody had taught them tactics, but somehow they knew what to do. They emerged into a side corridor 20 meters from the Xenolinguist offices. Through the corner, Taemin could see the Crothians. They were massive and armed. One was working on breaking through a locked door while others stood guard. We need to get them away from that door, Jinho whispered. Draw their attention. I'll do it, Taemin said. Before anyone could stop him, he stepped around the corner. Hey! He shouted. 6 pairs of Crothian eyes turned to look at him. The leader, the same one from the restaurant, grinned nastily. The little human who thinks he's brave. Did you come to die today? I came to ask you to leave, Taemin said. His voice was steady. Station security is coming. You can't win this. We don't need to win, the leader said. We just need to make a point. Show the galaxy what happens when humans aren't around to protect the weak species. He raised his weapon toward Taemin. Time seemed to slow down. Taemin saw the Crothian's finger moving toward the trigger. He saw where the weapon was pointing. He calculated distance and angles without thinking about it. Then Jinho, Do-Hyun, and Kyung-Soo came around the corner behind the Crothians. What happened next was fast and brutal. The humans moved like they had trained together for years. Do-Hyun threw his wrench, hitting a Crothian in the head and stunning him. Kyung-Soo used a plasma torch like a weapon, forcing 2 raiders back. Jinho tackled one from behind. Taemin ran forward. The leader turned his weapon toward him, but Taemin was already moving. He ducked under the shot and came up close. Too close for the weapon to be useful. The Crothian tried to hit him with the weapon's stock, but Taemin caught it and twisted. They fought hand to hand. The Crothian was bigger and stronger, but Taemin was faster. More importantly, he didn't stop. Every time the Crothian hit him, Taemin got back up. He felt pain, but pushed through it. The fight lasted maybe 2 minutes. To Taemin, it felt like hours. When it ended, the Crothian leader was on the ground, unconscious. The other raiders were subdued or had fled. The 4 humans stood breathing hard, bruised and bleeding, but alive. Station security arrived seconds later, looking shocked at the scene. The office door opened. Minji and Borum and 3 other Valorians looked out carefully. When they saw Taman and the others, relief flooded their faces. "Thank you," Minji said, tears in her eyes. "You saved us." Taman wanted to say something reassuring, but his legs suddenly felt weak. He sat down on the floor, his body finally acknowledging the beating he'd taken. "Medical team is coming," Jinho said, sitting down next to him. "That was insane, Taman." "You all came too," Taman pointed out. "Yeah, guess we're all crazy." Taman laughed despite the pain. Then he saw Hana running down the corridor toward him. She hadn't stayed in the safe zone after all. The medical bay was busy treating injuries from the raid. Most were minor, thankfully. The Crothians had been interested in making a statement rather than causing maximum harm. That didn't make them any less dangerous, but it meant fewer people were seriously hurt. Taman sat on a medical bed while a doctor, a being with 4 arms and green skin, treated his injuries. He had a cracked rib, various bruises, and a cut above his eye that needed sealing. The doctor worked efficiently while making disapproving noises. "You should not have engaged armed raiders," the doctor said. "That was very foolish. People needed help. And if you had died, those same people would have felt terrible guilt. Consider that next time before playing hero." But even as the doctor scolded him, Taman heard respect in the tone. He saw it in how other medical staff looked at him and the other humans who had fought. Not fear, exactly. More like acknowledgement. The curtain around his bed pulled back and Hana stepped through. Her eyes were red from crying. 5 minutes, the doctor said. "He needs rest." The doctor left them alone. Hana stood looking at Taman for a long moment. Then she stepped forward and hugged him gently, mindful of his injuries. "You could have died," she said softly, "but I didn't. You could have. Those Crothians had weapons. You had tools and bare hands." Taman wrapped his arms around her carefully. "I'm sorry I scared you, but I couldn't just hide while your friends were in danger." Hana pulled back and looked at him. Her eyes were intense. "I watched the security footage. The station shared it with everyone to show what happened. I saw the fight, Taman. And I saw what you truly are, what all of you are. You and Jinho and the others, you moved like predators, like beings designed for violence. It was terrifying." Taman felt his heart sink. "Hana, She put her hand on his face gently. "Let me finish. It was terrifying. But I also saw something else. You were protecting people. You put yourself between danger and innocent beings. You could have hurt those Crothians much worse than you did, but you stopped once they were down. You showed mercy." "They didn't deserve to die," Taman said. "They were wrong, but that doesn't mean they should be killed. Most predator species wouldn't think that way. They would kill to eliminate future threats, but you didn't. None of you did." Hana's voice was soft but certain. "That's what I saw in the footage. Not monsters, not mindless killers. I saw dangerous beings who chose to be kind, who chose to protect rather than destroy." "I don't feel very kind right now," Taman admitted. "I'm angry. Those Crothians came here to hurt people for no reason except to make a point." "You're allowed to be angry. That's normal. What matters is what you do with that anger." She sat down on the bed next to him. "Do you know what's happening on the station right now?" "What?" "Your actions are being discussed everywhere, on every level, in every species community. Most reactions are positive. Beings are saying they feel safer knowing humans will protect others. But some are saying this proves humans are too dangerous, that you should be restricted or removed from positions where you could use violence." Taman felt frustrated. "We were just helping people." I know, but fear doesn't always make sense. Some species see what humans can do and they worry about what happens if you stop choosing to be kind. If something makes you angry enough to use your full capabilities, that won't happen. You can't promise that for all humans. Just like I can't promise that all Valorians will always be peaceful scholars. Every species has individuals who make bad choices. Taman thought about that. She was right. Humans were as varied as any species. Most were good, but some weren't. So what do we do? Hana smiled. We keep being who we are. We show everyone through our actions that it's possible for different species to understand each other, to trust each other. You mean us specifically? Yes. A human and a Valorian together. People will watch us. They'll see how you treat me, how I treat you. Whether we can build something real despite our differences. Taman took her hand in his. Is that what you want? To be watched and judged by everyone? No, Hana said honestly. I want privacy and peace. But I also want to be with you. So I'll accept the attention if it means we can be together. You're sure? After seeing what humans really are? What I'm capable of? Hana looked at him seriously. When you asked me out that first time, I was afraid because I only knew what humans could do. I didn't know who you were as a person, but now I know both. I know you're dangerous. I know you could hurt me without trying very hard, but I also know you never would. I trust you, Taman. Not despite what you are, but knowing exactly what you are. Taman felt emotion tighten his throat. I trust you too. And I promise I'll always be careful. I'll never use my strength to hurt you or anyone who doesn't deserve it. I know. That's who you are. She leaned her head against his shoulder gently. My friends want to meet you properly. Minji wants to cook you dinner as thanks. Borum wants to interview you for a research paper on human-Valorian cultural exchange. That sounds nice. Intimidating, but nice. They sat quietly for a moment. Then Taman thought of something. Can I ask you something? That first day we met, when I fixed your translation device, were you afraid of me then? Hana thought about it. A little. But you were kind. You helped without asking for anything. That made me curious about you. Made me wonder if maybe the fear was wrong. And now? Now I'm not afraid at all. Well, I'm afraid of losing you. I'm afraid that something will happen and you'll be hurt. But I'm not afraid of you. Does that make sense? Perfect sense. The doctor came back and cleared their throat. Patient needs sleep now. You can visit tomorrow. Hana stood up reluctantly. Rest well. I'll come see you in the morning. Hana? Taman called as she reached the curtain. When I get out of here, can we try that dinner date again? Hopefully without any raiders this time? She smiled. I would like that very much. The next day, Taman was released from medical. His ribs were healing fast, another gift of human biology, apparently. He walked through the station and noticed changes in how other beings reacted to him. Some gave him respectful nods, others moved aside slightly when he passed, not out of fear but out of acknowledgement. A few species he didn't know stopped him to say thank you for helping during the raid. But he also noticed some beings looking at him with suspicion or wariness. The truth about humans was spreading. People were discussing what it meant to have such a dangerous species living among them. Taman met Hana at their favorite spot in the observation deck. She was watching the stars like she had the first time they talked there. Beautiful view, he said as he walked up. She turned and smiled. It is. I've been thinking about something. What's that? The galaxy is huge. Billions of stars, trillions of beings, so many different species, all trying to figure out how to live together. It's messy and complicated. True. But maybe that's okay. Maybe we don't need to have everything figured out. We just need to keep trying. Keep learning about each other. Taman stood beside her, looking out at the endless space. One relationship at a time? Exactly. Starting with us. He took her hand. She squeezed back. Around them, other beings in the observation deck noticed. Some smiled, others whispered to companions, a few took pictures. Taman realized Hana was right. They would be watched. People would judge their relationship. Some would see it as hope, others as proof of danger, but that didn't matter nearly as much as how they felt about each other. So, Taman said, that dinner date. How about tonight? Tonight works, Hana said, but maybe somewhere quieter this time, less chance of interruptions. I know just the place. Small restaurant on level 15. They serve food from Earth and Valoria. I checked, and they have environmental controls, so we'll both be comfortable. You already researched it? Hana looked touched. Of course, I wanted to make sure our next date was perfect. They stood together watching ships come and go from the station. Human and Valorian. Predator and prey by biological classification. But really just two people who found something special in each other. The galaxy would watch and judge and worry. But Taman and Hana would show them through their actions that understanding was possible. That trust could be built across any difference. Because in the end, what mattered wasn't what species you were. What mattered was the choice you made about who you wanted to be. And Taman chose kindness, chose to protect, chose to use his strength for good. Hana chose trust, chose to see beyond fear, chose to believe in the person standing beside her. Together they chose each other. And that was the beginning of everything.